السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله على إحسانه وشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله تعظيما لشأنه، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله داعي إلى رضوانه وعلى آله وأصحابه وإخوانه أما بعد. إخواني في الله, we are continuing with our lecture series regarding the history of the Muslims in Andalus, Muslim Spain and Portugal. And Ikhwani Fillah, one thing that we'll discuss inshallah at the end of the lecture, what is the comparison between Andalus and Palestine? That's a question you should ask inshallah at the end of the lecture. What is the comparison between Andalus of that time and Palestine currently, and all the things that are happening in Palestine? Can we learn from our history of Andalus and get lessons for what is happening right now in Palestine? إخواني في الله, حديثنا معكم في هذه الليلة عن إمام من إمام المسلمين، ألا وهو إمام ابن عبد البر الذي لقب بحافظ المغرب وشيخ الإسلام. Our lecture tonight, إخواني في الله, is one of the greatest scholars of Islamic history that came from the land of Andalus, that came from the land of Muslim Spain and Portugal, the Imam Ibn Abd al-Andalusi rahimahullah. Ikhwani fillah, his name, this Imam, is Abu Umar Yusuf ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad ibn Abd al-Barr ibn al-Asim al-Maliki al-Qurtubi al-Andalusi rahimahullah. His name is Abu Umar Yusuf ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Namiri al-Maliki al-Andalusi rahimahullah. For benefit, Ikhwani fillah, his name is Yusuf. Yusuf in the Arabic language has 6 pronunciations. Is there Yusuf in the mosque? Is there any person called Yusuf in the mosque? Who had the most handsome man in history is not found in our mosque? Who's called Yusuf? Mafi Yusuf? طيب. Yusuf, you can pronounce it as Yusuf or Yusuf or Yusuf. All these are pronunciations. Yusuf بالضم السين ويوسف بفتح السين ويوسف بكسر السين. Yusuf ويوسف ويوسف. Also other scholars, they add Hamza on the waw. So you say Yusuf ويوسف ويوسف. This is just for benefit. So this Imam Ikhwani Fillah was born in the year 368 of the Hijri calendar. His father was a scholar. His grandfather was a scholar, a worshipper. Unfortunately, his father, Ikhwani Fillah, he passed away in the year 380 of the Hijri calendar when this Imam was only 12 years of age. He started seeking knowledge, Ikhwani Fillah, in about the year 390 of the Hijri calendar also, when he was in his 20s. And this is something that we've seen with many scholars, or quite a number of them. It's not all of them started when they were young. Some of them started in old age. And the greatest, of course, are the Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They started studying the religion until they became the foremost scholars in Islam when they were very old. Also this Imam, the previous Imam we mentioned, Ibn Hazm, the famous Imam al-Nawawi. You know Imam Nawawi, Riyadh al-Salihin. He started when he was in his 20s. You have an Imam, one day he was a shepherd, he was looking after the sheep. Then a woman passes in the path. Then he says to the child, read, focus on your studies, or you shall be like this shepherd. You shall be like this shepherd. The guy got so heartbroken, this person. He says, أنا أضرب به المثل. I am the one who is given as an example of people. فبدأ في طلب العلم. He started seeking knowledge when he was very old. And he became the foremost scholar of his time in Arabic language and the Quran. This Imam is called Imam al-Kisai. Imam al-Kisai, there's also an institute that has been opened in Kajiado with this name. A great Imam. Started seeking knowledge very late. Also this Imam that we're talking about tonight, Ibn Abd al-Barr al-Namiri al-Andalusi al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, he started very late. He was born in the year 468 of the Hijr calendar in Qurtuba. He started seeking knowledge in the year Astaghfirullah. He was born in the year 368 of the Hijri calendar. He started seeking knowledge in the year 390 when he was 22 years of age. Seeking knowledge from the scholars of Andalus. He did not travel a single time. Scholars used to travel all over the world. You find a scholar like Imam Bukhari, he traveled to almost every country in the world. Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak al-Marwazi, rahimahullah, Imam Ahmad, they used to travel to seek the hadith of Prophet ﷺ and scholars from everywhere in the world. But these Imams of Andalus, Ibn Abd al-Barr, Ibn Hazm, they did not travel seeking hadith of Prophet ﷺ. For benefit, I had one of the sheikhs say that the current mufti of Saudi has done between 60 and 70 Hajj. He's done between 60 to 70 pilgrimage Hajj. He was the Imam during Arafah, if you know, the Imam Sheikh Abdul Aziz al-Sheikh. He says that this Imam, the mufti currently, he used to make intention for performing Hajj for scholars who did not perform Hajj because of the situations they were in, because of maybe the far distance, or because of a lot of war in between or insecurity in the way. So he says, I performed Hajj for Imam Ibn Abd al-Barr, Imam al-Mundhiri, and he mentioned a number of names, this scholar who told us this story. So this Imam, Ikhwani Fillah, started seeking knowledge in the year 390 of the Hijri calendar, very late. Started seeking knowledge of the Hadith in particular. And the scholar called Khalaf ibn al-Qasim, rahimahullah. He studied Hadith so much that he became known as Hafidul Maghrib, the foremost scholar when it comes to the knowledge of Hadith from the Western countries is this Imam. From the West or Western world, from Europe, from North Africa towards the West Morocco, is this Imam Al-Hafidul Maghrib ibn Abd al-Barr, rahimahullah. He was also the Qadi in the cities of Lisbon and Portugal. All this area of Portugal, he was the chief Qadi for a while. Then he left being a Qadi. A Qadi or a judge is not something that you should seek to get a position. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that there are three types of Qadis. There are three types of judges. Two are in the hellfire and one is in paradise. The only one in paradise is the one who has knowledge and rules upon it. The other two in the hellfire are a person who has knowledge but does not rule upon it. You find even Qadis, even in our own country, you hear stories of the given under the table deals. They have assured themselves of this hadith, of this warning of the Prophet ﷺ. And you have people who are not qualified completely to be Qadis because of their connections. They end up being judges and they rule upon people. Also, they are going to the hellfire, this group. So this Imam was a Qadi for a while, then he left it. He went to the east towards the city of Valencia and he remained there and he started teaching knowledge of the deen, and he became the foremost scholar of fiqh and hadith during his time. This Imam initially was of the madhab of the Zahiriyya. We mentioned this madhab previously. This is a madhab that takes the verses of the Quran and the Sunnah as it is. They do not change anything. The Prophet ﷺ said, you can do this, you cannot do this. They follow exact wording. They do not look for deeper meaning. So he left this madhab and he started following the madhab of his people. That is the madhab of Imam Malik ibn Anas. This was the foremost madhab. As we mentioned in the previous lecture, the Imam Yahya ibn Yahya al-Laythi brought this madhab into the land of Andalus. So he started under the madhab of Imam Malik. Then he used to like a lot the madhab of Imam Shafi'i. For benefit, as you know, all these Imams are somehow connected. These four Imams. These are the four Imams that we all follow as Muslims in the world. Most of us. Imam Abu Hanifa, he passed away in the year 150 of the Hijri calendar. His student is Abu Yusuf and Muhammad bin Hassan al-Shaybani. Then you have Imam Malik, who passed away in the year 179 of the Hijri calendar. Then you have Imam Shafi'i, the one we follow in Kenya. Imam Shafi'i is the student of Imam Malik. He's also the student of the students of Abu Hanifa. He's also the teacher of Imam Ahmad. So this is the Imam that connects all four. So Imam Ibn Abd al-Barr was following the madhab of Imam Malik, but he loved the madhab of Imam Shafi'i because Imam Shafi'i benefited from the school of hadith and the school of Rai. The school of opinion is led by Abu Hanifa and the school of hadith is led by Imam Malik at the time. So he benefited, and he wrote a great book that is known in Islamic history as At-Tamheed. Is known as At-Tamheed. We mentioned in the previous lecture that the scholar Sultan Ulama Ibn Al-Izz Ibn Abd Salam, he says that there are two books in Islam that I have not seen the likes of it. Two books in Islam that I have not seen the like of it. The first one is Al-Muhalla by Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi. And the second is Al-Mughni by Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi. Al-Muhalla by Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, and the second is Al-Mughni by Ibn Qudam al-Maqdisi. He says, Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, we add two more books, At-Tamheed by Ibn Abd al-Barr and Sunan al-Kubra by Imam al-Bayhaqi. So two of the four greatest books of fiqh were written by scholars from which country? Two of the four greatest books of fiqh were written by scholars from which country? Andalus. So is it not a great loss for us to have lost the land of Andalus? Four of the greatest books of fiqh, of the greatest books of Islam, they were written by scholars of Andalus. You get? Imam Ibn Hazm, the author of Al-Muhalla, he says, I have not seen the like of the book written by this Imam Ibn Abd al-Barr, the Tamheed. I have not seen the like of it. How can you ask me for something better than it? ما رأيت مثله فكيف بأحسن منه. I have not seen the like of it. He also wrote a book, Al-Istidhkar. He wrote Al-Isti'ab fi Ma'arifat al-Ashab. He took the Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam they could find in the books, and he reached 3,000 plus Sahaba. He thought he had covered all the Sahabas. Then the scholars, they came until came Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah, who passed away in the year 852 of the Hijri calendar. He wrote Al-Isaba fi Ma'arifat al-Sahaba, 10,000 Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we know by name, and we know some of the history. 10,000 of people who are walking on this earth and promised Jannah. All the Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam are in Jannah. Are you together? Question: how many Sahaba were there in total? About 140,000. The ones who witnessed Hajjatul Wada', the final farewell of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As-Sahaba, for benefit, who is the Sahabi? من لقي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مؤمنا به ومات على ذلك. Three conditions for you to be a companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first condition, that you met Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Are you together? The second condition, that you believed in him. And the third condition is that you died upon that state. Are you together? You have someone like Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl. Are they Sahaba? Why? Which condition do they fail to meet? Did not believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have someone called Musaylama al-Kadhab, Aswad al-Anasi. You have someone called Musaylama al-Kadhab, the false prophet. He met Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He believed in him, in quotes. But did he die upon a state of Islam? He died as a kafir. So he does not qualify to be Sahabi. Taib. You see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in a dream. You see the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam in a dream. And the shaitan cannot take the face of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Do you then become a Sahabi? You have seen him, you have believed in him, and inshallah you will die. Do you get the qualification that you are a Sahabi? No. You have to have met him. That's why the scholars use that word, met. Previous scholars were saying, whoever sees Prophet Muhammad, believes in him, and dies upon that state. You have someone, Abasa wa Tawalla, was revealed because of a blind Sahabi, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, one of the muaddins of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He never saw Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in his life. He was blind. Does that disqualify him from being a Sahabi? He didn't see him. He met him. He believed in him. He died upon that state. Khani there are some people, you read history sometimes and you just, subhanallah, the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal. The day Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, there are some people who came to Medina to see him, but they did not see him. The Prophet had already died. Just one day was the difference between them and seeing their beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just one day was the difference between them being Sahabi and Tabi'in. Just one day. So this Imam Ibn Abd al-Barr wrote a book, Al-Isti'ab fi Ma'arifat al-Ashab, of about 3,000 Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, male, female, and children. Later on, other scholars added until we got Al-Isaba في تمييز الصحابة لإمام ابن حجر العسقلاني رحمه الله. He also wrote another book, جامع بيان العلم وفضله. Wrote many excellent books, this Imam. He was a good writer and he was polite. Not like the previous scholar we mentioned, Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm was his companion and they loved each other. Ibn Abd and Ibn Hazm were at the same time, the same period, during the Ta'ifa states, when Andalus was divided into how many states, Muhammad? 22 to 27, according to some scholars. Andalus, this small land, was divided into 22 or 27 states. Different states, Ishbilia, Valencia, Batalayos, Mallorca, and so on and so forth. So they were very close friends, and he was an excellent author, Ikhwani Fillah. He passed away, Ikhwani Fillah, in the year 463 of the Hijri calendar. And from the ways we memorize this date is that this date or this year that he passed away is the same year that the greatest scholar of Baghdad also passed away. The greatest scholar of the East and the greatest scholar of the West, they passed away in the year 463 of the Hijri calendar. For the Hafiz of al-Maghrib is Ibn Abd al-Barr, this scholar we're talking about tonight. And the Hafiz of al-Mashriq from Baghdad is a scholar known as al-Khatib al-Baghdadi. Both of them passed away in the year 463 of the Hijri calendar. And this repeats many times in Islamic history. Just in our times, in about the year 1999, I don't know, I think it's 1420 of the Hijri calendar or so. You have Sheikh, the Mufti of Saudi, Ibn Abdul Aziz ibn Baz. He passes away. Then a few months later, Sheikh al-Albani passes away. The year 99 of the Hijri calendar is known as the year of the Fuqaha. We lost many scholars in 1 year. So it happens sometimes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a trial to this ummah. He takes away the scholars in one go. But us, do we benefit from these scholars when we're here? Do we take from their knowledge? Even if you don't take from their knowledge, do you observe them and see how does a sheikh act with people? What habits can I benefit from his character? So, Ikhwani Fillah, let us look after our scholars. We have very few left. Even in Kenya, honestly, you can hardly count the scholars you have with our hand. Scholars of that caliber are not there anymore. So, Ikhwani Fillah, we have to look at our scholars, and we lost the land of Andalus that produced many scholars. That is something that we should always cry about. Ikhwani Fillah, Andalus and Palestine. Right now, you look at the TV every day in the news, it breaks your heart seeing what is happening in Palestine, what is happening in Gaza and in Diffa, in the West Bank. What is the similarity? What happened in Andalus, if you remember the lecture series, the Muslims, they conquered Andalus. But Muslims, when they conquer land, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also blesses them to conquer the hearts. Islam enters the hearts freely. They love this deen of Allah Azza wa Jal when they understand it. And they enter in the deen in thousands and millions. So the people of Spain, the majority, all of them accepted, or most of them accepted Islam. But we made a mistake, we did not conquer that one small area towards the north, the Asturian region in Andalus. And also there was France. So the French and this Asturian region, they started entering Andalus slowly. This is a project that took centuries. Not immediate, it took maybe 500, 600 years. They capture a city like Barcelona. What do? They kill the Muslims, and whoever wants to run for their lives, they expel them. Go away, this is not your land. They expel them. They capture another city, they expel them. They are not tolerant. They cannot live with Muslims. Right, together. And this is the same thing that is happening in Palestine, in the West Bank and Gaza. There is no day, Ikhwani Fillah, there's going to be a Palestine state and an Israeli state staying together. That is a lie. It's just stories and repeated that our grandchildren are going to talk about if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change what is currently happening. It's not going to happen. There's no way this group is going to stay with this group. Impossible. So what is happening right now? They are settling land that is supposed to be Palestine land, according to international law, is being taken over every single day. They build something called settlements, and they expel the Muslims from those lands. The same way they did in Andalus, and we ended up losing the entire Andalus because of this small cancers or these small sentiments in our land, we ended up losing Andalus. So Ikhwanifillah, history has a bad habit of repeating itself. So we should always learn from our history. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.